It's seed planting day here at Homesteadin in the City, and I have tons of seeds that I need to start. We're at the very end of February, so I feel a little bit behind, but we did have some more really cold weather come through. At this time in South Carolina, we get a lot of false springs, and it'll get nice like it is today, and then in a few days it'll be close to snowing. But I want to go ahead and get these seeds started, find some warm places for them to hang out, and so that way when spring finally does hit, we will be ready for it. One of the things that people don't talk about a lot is having a garden notebook. And so I went out, here we go, we got a visitor. Cleo, say hi to everybody. Okay. All right, this is Cleo, and she's going to help us out. So I made a list of all the seeds that I wanted to plant, and this notebook just helps me to keep up with different updates in the garden and to remember what I've planted and maybe to draw out things that I want to do. And so today we're just going to start getting some seeds ready. I'm going to use a variety of containers. I've got some seed starting trays like this, and I have some seed starting trays like this, and some bigger pots that I'm going to do certain seeds in. And so here's what we're going to do. I want to start my containers at the bottom with a little bit of peat moss. The peat moss just helps hold water. I'm just going to put a little bit of it in the bottom of each one. It'll hold water, and it also adds a little bit of acidity. If you saw one of my previous shorts about pH, which I didn't explain too well, as I was told, I like to hear the feedback of whether or not you understand what we're talking about or not. And so I was testing the pH of my soil, and you can either have a neutral, which is a pH of 7, or if it's below 7, that moves towards acidity. Above 7, that's an alkaline soil. And because I've had so many wood chips and trees taken down and leaves, those types of things cause your soil to become more alkaline. And that alkaline soil doesn't help a lot of things grow, especially our fruits and vegetables. A lot of them like the soil to be a little bit more acidic. And so adding things like peat moss will help with the acidity of your soil. You can also add compost and get other organic soil acidifiers. Where did you come from? Goodness. Then what I want to do is add a tiny bit of regular potting soil on top of that peat moss. So we're going to add potting soil. Cleo, you're going to get dirty being up here and joining us. And I'm not going to fill this all the way up with potting soil because I'm going to top it off with something else if Cleo doesn't knock it over and get in the way. And so then the last thing that I want to put, and it stores well in a Pringles canister, is some really fine soil that I sifted. It's not quite sand. It looks sandier, but it does have more nutrients in it. It comes from my wood chips that have been breaking down. And let me show you how I got this fine soil right here. I like to start my seeds with some finer soil like this. And the way you can do that, to make that soil, is to get some sort of screen. This is an old window screen, and you don't even have to have mesh as fine as this, but you can make it a little thicker. But something like this that can sift the soil, because I like to use this soil that I have where I've had wood chips breaking down. And so there are some thicker pieces that might hinder the seeds. Oh cool, we have a little earthworm in here too. Let me get that guy back in the soil. And so I just pull some of my soil that I have with these wood chips breaking down and put it on the screen and start rubbing it through. And the bits that go through the screen are what I use whenever I'm starting the seeds. And that creates a little less resistance, so pieces like this don't get in my starting soil and block a seed from coming up. If you don't have wood chips, oh look, we have a cat who's joining us. Cleo, say hello to everyone. Cleo, are you going to garden too? Are you a garden cat? Are you a garden cat? We'll have garden cat stickers on our Homesteadin In The City site whenever we get a store set up. Cleo, you cannot sit on the mesh. Yes. But you can also do this with regular potting soil that you buy from the store, because there are some thicker bits that come in that potting soil. Maybe not as much as these, like with the wood chips, but this would just help you to have a thinner soil to start the seeds and give them a good start. All right, Cleo, get off of there. Get off of there. All right, so now that you know how to make the finer soil, which is really easy, we're gonna plant a few cucumbers right now. And I'm going to try something that I saw on the internet. Instead of planting the cucumber straight up, I'm going to plant the seed on a 45-degree angle. I'll push that down in there. 45-degree angle the best I can. And the theory in this is whenever the seed starts to sprout and come up, a lot of times these shells on these bigger seeds will still be on your plant. And so the soil should help pull that shell off and just help the seed along. So I'm going to put these in here. I added a little bit of water to our trays, and it's moving right through. Let's stick that guy in. Okay, so now another underrated thing that I always forget to do, almost always forget. I always think I'm going to remember, but I don't. So we have to label our seeds. Otherwise, it's going to get really confusing later on. So I'm writing cucumber on this popsicle stick. You can get popsicle sticks. You can use, I've used white plastic knives to write on, stick those in. They make other labels. Sometimes it's a matter of masking tape on the containers, those types of things. But anything to help you remember what it is you've planted. Okay, and then we have a bunch more to go, so we're just gonna keep going. And this one, I do want to talk about these seeds right here because my friend Janet got me these. So these are a lot of herbs and tea seeds. And so I'm really excited to get into these to be able to plant a tea garden. The only tea herbs that I have gotten to grow so far have been wild bergamot, besides like mint and things like that. But this little kit came with tons of seeds, and even a little kit for planting, and with some tweezers and things like that to be able to easily put the seeds into the soil. Even though there's a tool in here, a lot of times I'll just use a stick that I've found, and we'll put a little hole in there to get my seeds in. In this pot right here, I think I'm going to do some cilantro. And hopefully what we'll have with this pot is just a whole bunch of cilantro growing up. I'm trying to get it to grow before it gets too hot. Over here we have a very short cilantro window, unless you have a greenhouse or something to protect it. So I'm going to keep planting seeds. You're welcome to join me, but remember to label your seeds, and then, because you'll think you'll remember, but you won't. So remember to label your seeds, and happy planting. And I hope that you maybe either have gotten some tips or just some inspiration to get out there. The process is pretty simple, and it's a lot of fun to see what grows, what works out and what doesn't. I hope you've enjoyed planting seeds with us. Hope that you get some stuff growing too. Drop in the comments what you're planning on growing or what you are growing right now. Any tips for anybody that you have, drop those in the comments as well. And stay tuned to Homesteadin In The City. You can look to the website, hitc.city, or check back in on our YouTube channel, subscribe if you haven't, to see the progress. You can also check out what Zach's doing over in his yard, and then some of the things that we may be cooking as well. So stay tuned for all that. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.